Welcome to Sleepy Historian, where old tales whisper by candlelight and memories gently drift into dreams. Tonight, let us journey back to a time long asleep in history.
Settle into a quiet space. Let the noise of the day slowly fade into the distance, and allow yourself to drift into another world. Not a world of fantasy or myth, but a world built stone by hands long forgotten, on windswept ridges beneath pale northern skies. Tonight, we travel back in time, back to the age of dynasties and discipline, to the edge of the empire, to the dust and snow where walls rise from mountains like silent serpents of stone. You've seen pictures of the Great Wall of China. You may have walked its more polished steps, where tourists shuffle and guides echo through restored battlements. But few think of the lives behind those stones, the lives lost to build it, the forgotten breath of thousands sealed inside its mortar. This isn't the story of glory or grandeur. It is the quiet, heavy tale of sweat, of sorrow, of snow in the boots and hunger in the belly, of emperors who dreamed of eternity, and of the men whose hands made that possible, then disappeared. In this journey, we'll first follow the daily rhythms of those who built the wall in the Ming dynasty, brick by back-breaking brick. Then we'll peer into the mind of an emperor haunted by death itself, Qin Shi Huang, whose vision helped spark the wall's beginning. Next, we'll step softly through the subterranean silence of the Terracotta Army, a haunting city of clay built for the afterlife. And finally, we'll pass through silk screens and carved beams, to explore the polished, pressurized life of a scholar official in the Forbidden City, where comfort came with the cost of perfection. So take a slow breath, feel the calm stretch through your body, and prepare to walk along the ridgeline of history, not in haste, but in harmony with the steady rhythm of time. Let us begin with the hands that built the Great Wall. Imagine yourself waking to the hollow sound of a drum. It's not the kind of sound that rouses you with purpose. It drags you out of sleep like a slow tug underwater. The sky is still dark. The wind has picked up overnight, and the air bites before your eyes have fully opened. You are a conscripted laborer, a peasant pulled from your village fields and sent north, not to fight, but to build. To haul, to dig, to die if needed. Your name is not written down. Your efforts will not be remembered. But the stones must rise. The year is sometime in the early 1500s. The Ming dynasty rules from the south, but up here at the edge of empire, all that matters is the wall. You sleep on flattened earth inside a thin tent made of reed matting. There's no heat, only breath clouds and stiff fingers. If it is winter, and it often is, the ground is hard as bone, and the wind comes down from the gobi like a knife. Outside, the labor camp stirs slowly. Dozens, sometimes hundreds of men, moving like shadows. Some are criminals, sentenced to labor. Others are farmers unable to pay tax. Some are soldiers fallen from favor. All are here for the wall. Your morning meal, if there is one, is a thick porridge made from millet, grayish, sticky, not enough, never enough. Then you walk to the wall. The terrain here is brutal, rocky, uneven, sometimes sheer. Carts can't always reach it, so materials are dragged up by hand, on sledges, or on the backs of men yoked together with hemp rope. You carry bricks, each one heavy enough to jar your spine if lifted wrong. You do it again, and again, and again. The rhythm of your day is not told by the sun, but by muscle memory. Up, down, lift, place, mortar, repeat. The mortar, in some places, is mixed from lime, water, and a paste made from glutinous rice. The rice sticky and strong binds the stone better than anything else. It is said to be more durable than modern cement. You do not taste it. You never will. The overseer's bark commands, though many are just as cold, just as weary as you. They have no real power, only the task of pushing others along. Sometimes men collapse, and if they do not rise, they are left. The wall cannot wait. When it rains, the mud swallows shoes. When it snows, the bricks freeze to the fingers. When the sun beats down, the stones become too hot to hold. Sometimes entire sections collapse. Maybe the base wasn't level, maybe a storm loosened the slope. Maybe you'll never know, because one moment you're carrying a load and the next the earth shifts and the wall takes its payment. There are rumors that some men are buried within it, that their bodies too broken to return are left between layers, not out of malice, but out of necessity. But no one talks about it openly. It's just the way of things. At night, you return to camp. Your hands tremble, your legs ache in ways that no amount of sleep can repair. Sometimes a fire is lit, though the fuel is meager. You sit near it anyway, just to remember what warmth is. Some men hum old village songs under their breath. Some stare silently at the horizon. Some talk of home, but most say nothing. They lie down, close their eyes, and wonder if tomorrow will be the day they don't wake. Above, the wall stretches like a stone spine across the mountains, beautiful from a distance. Majestic, but up close, it is a monument to exhaustion. A stitched scar across the land, one laid brick by brick on the backs of men like you, and yet the rhythm continues, as if the stones themselves whisper, "One more, just one more." And still, it is not enough. Let the stone dust settle, let the winds quiet down, and now, let us turn back further in time, not to the Ming dynasty, but to the very beginning, to the man whose ambition was so vast, it reached across mountains, through deserts, and even into death itself. Imagine a throne, polished, high-backed, with bronze dragons curling around its arms. Beneath it, a man sits upright, his gaze sharp, his breath measured. His name is Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. It is the year 221 BCE, the Warring States period has ended. After centuries of violence and fractured kingdoms, one man has risen above the chaos. One vision, one army, one empire, and yet, the moment peace is achieved, he begins to fear what cannot be conquered: time. Qin Shi Huang did not begin life as an emperor. He was born Yingzheng, prince of the Qin state, a boy caught in palace intrigues and whispers of scandal. Some questioned his legitimacy, others feared his quiet intensity. But from a young age, he was taught one thing above all: control. Control the court, control the people, control the borders, and one day, control death. When he came to power, he ruled with an iron vision. The writing system was unified. Weights and measures were standardized. Roads were built. Walls were connected. Yes, walls. The early foundations of what would one day become the Great Wall were laid under his rule. Not as one continuous line, but as a series of linked fortifications across the northern frontier. They were built to keep out the nomadic tribes, but also perhaps to draw a boundary around the empire itself. To hold it all in. He ordered massive works, palaces, roads, canals. He moved mountains and rivers, or so the records claim. But alongside these accomplishments, the fear grew. It is said that Qin Shi Huang became obsessed with living forever. He consulted mystics and alchemists. He sent expeditions across the seas, searching for islands said to hold the secret to immortality. He drank elixirs made from rare minerals, some of which likely hastened the decay he so desperately tried to outrun. One account tells of a group sent east, led by a man named Su Fu, sailing with hundreds of young boys and girls in search of the fabled Penglai Island, a paradise where immortals were said to dwell. They never returned. Back in the capital, the emperor grew more paranoid. He avoided speaking the word death. He disguised his travel routes to avoid assassins. And all the while, he ordered the construction of a mausoleum so vast it would mirror his kingdom beneath the earth. He wanted a tomb that was not a tomb, but a world. A replica of his empire, complete with rivers of mercury, palaces of stone, and soldiers, thousands of them, to protect him in the afterlife. but death did come. On a journey through eastern China, Qin Shi Huang fell ill. The cause remains uncertain, perhaps mercury poisoning from the elixirs, perhaps something more mundane. But as he lay dying, his attendants panicked. They knew the news of his death would send shockwaves through the empire, so they kept it secret. They placed his body in a cart filled with fish, hoping the smell would mask the decay. All the while, they continued on, sending orders in his name, pretending he still ruled. Eventually, they reached the capital, and the truth could no longer be hidden. Qin Shi Huang was gone, but his obsession with control echoed long after his final breath. He had created a unified empire, but one ruled by fear, secrecy, and impossible ambition. The Great Wall, the Terracotta Army, the standardized roads and language, all legacies of a man at war with mortality, and in that war, perhaps, he lost more than he gained. So now, as we leave behind the palaces and mountain passes of his reign, let us step into the earth, deep below, where his silent soldiers still stand, eternally watchful, waiting. Waiting for what? No one truly knows. The wind fades. You feel the quiet settle like dust on skin. No drums, no voices, no firelight. Only the echo of footsteps in a cavern so vast it seems carved from night itself. This is not a battlefield, and yet they stand in perfect formation. Rank after rank of men, stone men frozen mid-march, eyes forward as if awaiting the next command. This is the Terracotta Army. Imagine the year as 1974. In the arid plains of Shanxi province, a group of farmers digs a well. Their shovels strike something unexpected, not water, but fragments of baked clay, hollow, cold, yet unmistakably human-shaped. They had stumbled upon one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. Beneath their feet was an army, not of blood and bone, but of clay and stillness, buried for over 2,000 years. Let us step softly between them. There are more than 8,000 life-size soldiers here, each carved with careful precision, no two exactly alike. Their hairstyles vary. Their armor differs. Some are mustached, some stern-jawed, some look almost wistful. They carry spears, swords, and bows. Though many of the weapons are gone now, stolen, rotted, or removed for study, the air still holds the weight of war. And yet no battle was ever fought here. These men were not made to fight, they were made to wait, to serve in the afterlife. This vast underground necropolis was part of the tomb complex of Qin Shi Huang, the same emperor whose fear of death we just explored. While his actual tomb remains unopened, sealed beneath a mound, protected by superstition and modern uncertainty. His army stands on display in silent review. They were buried in long, trench-like pits, roofed with timber, then packed over with earth, each soldier carefully placed, row by row. Some kneel, some stand. Some ride clay horses with stiffened manes. There are generals, there are foot soldiers. There are archers and chariot drivers, all frozen, yet alert as though they might blink if you turned away, and not just soldiers. Further excavations have revealed acrobats, musicians, even civil officials, a full society encased in soil. A world built not to be lived in, but to be buried with. The techniques used to make them are remarkable. Bodies were molded in parts, torsos, legs, arms, heads, assembled like a quiet factory line, then detailed by hand. The surface painted in vibrant colors, reds, purples, greens, and blues. But exposure to air caused the pigments to flake and vanish within hours. What once stood in dazzling color has faded to pale, earthen tones, like dreams slipping through the fingers upon waking. Even the horses life-sized and alert were buried in place. Real horses may have been sacrificed too, though records are unclear, and such things are often left to interpretation. Nearby were bronze chariots, miniature replicas detailed with golden fittings, not toys, but symbols. objects meant to accompany the emperor through the unseen lands. There's a story told by guides that some of the clay warriors once held real weapons so finely made that they rivaled modern steel, that the tips of their arrows were chrome-plated, a technique thought to be lost for millennia. The truth of that remains debated, but the idea persists that within these buried corridors, there are technologies, secrets, and rituals still unknown. And then there is the tomb itself. The emperor's final resting place remains sealed, hidden beneath a man-made hill. Ancient texts speak of rivers of mercury flowing through it, a sky painted with constellations, traps designed to kill intruders. Whether true or not, no one has entered. The fear of damage, of irreversible loss, has stayed even the most eager archaeologist's hand. And so it remains, like a locked door at the end of a long hallway. The emperor sleeps, his army stands guard, and the earth holds its breath. It is a strange comfort, knowing that even in death, the desire to control echoes through time. And yet, the silence of the Terracotta Army feels less like domination and more like resignation. They are here, they were built, they endure. But they do not move. They do not speak. Only the footsteps of modern visitors disturb their eternal watch. So let us leave them now, as we found them, silent, patient, and waiting beneath the earth. Our path now leads us upward again, from stone to silk, from clay to lacquered wood, from graves to courts. Let us walk quietly toward the halls of the Forbidden City, where power took on another shape. One of books, brushes, and perfectly chosen words. Picture yourself standing before an enormous set of crimson gates. They rise high above you, trimmed in gold, capped with curling roof tiles the color of autumn sky. A pair of stone lions sit silently on either side, guarding the threshold without sound or movement. Beyond the gate lies the Forbidden City, not just a palace, but a world. A meticulously ordered realm of courtyards and corridors, where every step is a statement, every gesture a performance. And within that quiet world, among the eunuchs and the concubines, the guards and the generals, walks the scholar official, not with swords, but with scrolls, not with armor, but with words. Imagine yourself as one of them. You wear long flowing robes of pale blue or dusty ivory, embroidered not for style, but for status. At your waist, a jade token. Your shoes are simple, but spotless. Your hands carry no weapon, only a narrow brush. You are a man of learning, and your mind is your credential. But getting here, into these halls, was no easy feat. Let's go back, just a little. You were not born into this place. You were born in a quiet village, perhaps the son of a teacher or a farmer. And from the age of 4 or 5, your life was shaped by ink and repetition. The civil service examination system of Imperial China was among the most grueling in the world. It began with memorization. First, you committed to memory the Analects of Confucius, then the 5 classics, then hundreds of poems, treatises, and historical texts. Your childhood was filled not with play, but with recitation. Not with toys, but with bamboo slips and inkstones. You practiced calligraphy until your wrists ached. You copied passages by candlelight until the characters danced like ghosts before your eyes. And then years later, you sat for the first exam. It was held in a public hall, with hundreds of others crammed into tiny cubicles. No talking, no food, but what you carried. 3 days. 2 nights. You wrote essays, poetry, policy proposals, all judged not just for content, but for tone, structure, even calligraphic elegance. Many failed. Some went mad. A few died during the ordeal. But if you passed, you advanced to the next level, then another. Eventually, if you passed the final imperial exam, you were summoned to the capital, to serve, to advise, to be among the elite. And now, here you are, in the cool corridors of the Forbidden City, where even footsteps echo with intention. Your days begin before sunrise. You rise in silence, dress in prescribed robes, and make your way to morning court. There, in the hall of supreme harmony, you and your peers kneel on woven mats as the emperor enters, his face unreadable behind ritual and distance. You do not speak unless addressed. When you do speak, every word must be measured, each syllable a balance of loyalty, logic, and moral clarity. The emperor values harmony, but he values strength of thought even more. You are not a politician. You are a literati, a man shaped by books and tested by tradition. You read reports. You write responses. You study the shifting tides of policy, the taxes in the provinces, the behavior of governors, the weather patterns that hint at famine. You may be asked to write an imperial edict. Your brush must flow like water, elegant, decisive, without arrogance. Outside your office, gardens bloom, peonies, chrysanthemums, plum trees dusted with frost. A koi pond reflects the ornate roofs above. But beauty is not your concern. Inside, your desk is piled high with scrolls, memorials, grievances. You live in a room of exactness, your inkstone polished, your brush trimmed, your mind sharpened by long hours and deep thought. There is no comfort here, only prestige. You eat sparingly, attend banquets with restraint, and avoid any hint of impropriety. One poorly chosen word, one accidental insult, could send your career tumbling down, and yet you are respected. In a world ruled by emperors and generals, it is you, the scholar, who shapes the words that shape the empire. But even at the height of your service, you never forget the examination halls. You never forget the ink that stained your fingers or the nights your breath fogged the paper by lamplight, because this is not a job, it is a calling, a lifelong journey of thought and duty. And when your term ends, you may return to your village, not with riches, but with honor, to teach, to write, to contemplate the balance between power and virtue. In the end, the scholar official is not remembered with statues or armies, but his words, his brushstrokes, they endure, ink on silk. Ideas in motion, wisdom carved not in stone, but in memory. Now, as we prepare to leave the halls of the Forbidden City, let us take one last breath with the rhythm of the ages, brick, clay, scroll, silence. History does not sleep, but you can. And now, as the journey draws to a close, let the dust of the Great Wall settle once more in your mind. Let the hush of buried soldiers and the soft scratch of ink on parchment fade slowly into silence. Tonight you've walked in the footsteps of men who never expected to be remembered. The calloused hands that lifted bricks into bitter wind. The trembling fingers that wrote poems in candlelight. The still faces carved from clay to serve a restless emperor forever. You've stood atop stone ridges where snow once fell on exhausted shoulders. You've traveled across time through the fear of mortality, the reach of power, and the delicate balance of ritual and thought. And through it all, a simple truth has echoed beneath the surface. Even the mightiest monuments are built from quiet lives, from daily toil, from anonymous sacrifice, from dreams of order in a chaotic world. The Great Wall is not merely stone. It is memory, effort, loss. The Terracotta Army does not march, but it watches, it remembers. And the scholar's brush, once dipped in ink, still ripples through history like a whisper through paper walls. As you rest now, in your own time, in your own quiet room, know that the past is not so distant. It lives in the wind against your window, in the rhythm of breath, in the human longing to be seen, to be safe, to be remembered. So breathe slowly, gently, feel the weight of centuries ease off your shoulders. Let the emperors fade, let the walls dissolve. Let the silence of ancient China become your lullaby. You are safe, you are here. And the long march of history can pause just for tonight.
Tonight's story comes to a close. If your eyes have gently shut, then I wish you a deep, peaceful sleep. Until we meet again. In the next dream,